Okay, let me just lower my volume just a tad. Hello, everybody at Bob Paulswoody, and in today's podcast, we are back and better than ever. I'm joined here with George. George is a majority shareholder in India's eighth largest diaper company, Durgesh's Diapers. I'm also here with Jacob. Jacob holds the world record for the most Nobel Peace Prize runner-up positions, 26 and counting. He will get that prize eventually. And I am Kevin, also known as a bad password, and I am a struggling mother of 9. Gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. How should we begin?
How many men did you sleep with to have that many kids? That's my question.
I don't want to talk about it.
Not one man's gonna stick with your raggedy ass for all 9 goddamn kids. That's all I know.
So what are we gonna? We're starting off with The Witcher, correct?
Are we talking about The Witcher? Did somebody say The Witcher?
Yes.
Ah, yes, The Witcher. Yes.
What?
Now, as you guys may have known, The Witcher came out. I want to say it came out about.
Are you searching
a
it?
year ago.
I'm googling.
Oh, that's right. It came out. Hey guys, look, I'm a professional here. And I'm a professional, and I have resources at the ready to have a great conversation on this bad podcast. And I mean that.
9 times so you could keep googling.
Well,
Shut
no,
up.
I
Just
found
give
it.
us the answer,
I found
you
it.
fuck.
I did found it. So The Witcher came out about a year ago in December. It was immediately like was a big hit. I think probably the most famous thing from it was the song, Toss a Coin to Your Witcher. But anyways, so we learned not too long ago, a few months ago, I would say actually at this point, that they were continuing they're continuing productions on The Witcher.
Where do they film it?
During the pandemic? Where are they filming? I believe I was gonna say Croatia, but that's usually just where they like. I feel like where Europe always films is like in Croatia or
They're
like.
filming in Georgia.
So they started to do recordings, and of course you got the creeps on the set who are taking pictures from far away. And I don't know the legalities of that, but yeah, you get. Anyways,
If your camera is high res enough, you can take a photo from afar.
right. One of the critiques with that season was definitely with some of the set design and specifically the wardrobe for the Nilfgaardians, who were basically the baddies.
The baddie.
The Nilfgaardians so far were the baddies.
Wait,
They're the ones who are
The Nilf?
Yep.
Nilf?
Nilf.
Okay.
Yeah, not the Milf Guardians.
I'm calling them the Milf Guardians.
The Nilfgaardians. That's the big baddies. Their armor, to put it, I mean, George, I sent it to you so you can remember what it looked like, and Kevin, you can give it a look too in the group chat. But their armor from season 1, it just looks the same.
Oh,
it looks,
Jesus.
yeah, it just looks. I don't know how to quite explain it. It looks like it was made for like a high school play.
I look so bad.
It's like they vacuum sealed trash bags
It looks
onto
like
whatever the fuck they have on.
actually, you know what it looks like?
Jesus.
It's like they put sticks. Yes, it looks like they vacuum sealed sticks and then put it on like plates. It looks
What's
very
the new
weird.
one? Oh,
awful.
that new one looks
and-
dope.
So the new one is more based off of the armor you see the Nilfgaardians have in the Witcher games, which are made by the wonderful studio that will bring you Cyberpunk 2077 at some point, maybe. But so they went with the armor from the Witcher games, which is kind of interesting because initially the show was not supposed to be based on the games because the Witcher books have been these fantasy novels for I don't say decades, but they have been around for a while, and so they're actually going more off the books while borrowing a little bit some aesthetics from the games. But the new Nilfgaardian armor they're going with is 100% borrowing from the aesthetic of the games, and
Let me look
I
that
think
up.
that's good course correction. Everyone says this sucks, and everyone's like, I like the game. They're like, well, here's the game. So there you go.
yeah.
For those unaware, I've never watched the Witcher, so
It's an alright show, but I don't think I could recommend it, honestly.
It's
Is it so? From what I've been told, is it's like super for the fans. Like if you're not a fan of The Witcher, you would be very confused. Is that true?
I mean, it's like they reference, like they just throw you straight into the world. and they just reference other like towns, other factions, like you said in passing, which is good
Mm-hmm.
as like you learn along the way. But it's just like you know how it has that effect of like fantasy names, where it's like multiple syllables.
Oofgeigen and
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, I'm not gonna.
Stoofgeigen. Yeah.
They're not distinct enough. It's just a couple words with the same exact vowels
Yes.
placed in the exact same spots.
Yes.
It's like that, which is like, even though I love Lord of the Rings, I can't really fucking follow what the fuck is happening in like the extended like lore wise, because I'm like, okay, those are the elf guys. I don't know any other fucking names, you know. And it's like that. The one intriguing thing that I really liked about The Witcher season 1 is that it had the
Henry
three.
Cavill's huge.
He's a beefcake in that show, but the three different timeline stories and how they don't outright tell you, and it's very at first I would say like the first half of that season is very jarring because they're just throwing you from one storyline to the next. You don't know what the fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start to realize, and like that's when you start to realize, like, oh shit, that's that character, but in a different time period. Like this is that's when you start like connecting the dots, and then it really pays off how all three of those fragmented stories converge like near the end.
Yeah.
It was
If
fucking
you're
dope.
if you're a
It's like Dunkirk.
I haven't seen it.
Someone saw that.
I haven't seen. I still
What?
haven't seen it. Yeah,
I saw it, but you guys.
it's funny too because I mean it's a World War II movie. And Christopher Nolan. I'm not saying I'm a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, but his movies are at least visually fun to watch, if they're not the most structurally
Harry
sound.
Styles is in it.
Yes, my sister reminded me of that.
Oh my god.
But no, I haven't seen it yet. But no, The Witcher, I would say if you are a avid fan of fantasy, the fantasy genre, if you like the fantasy movies and TV shows, books, whatever, games, I would recommend it in that case. If you're not, I wouldn't say I wouldn't recommend it, but I would just give you a little like a disclaimer.
You're a fucking nerd. If you want to see Henry Cavill shirtless, go
Yeah,
watch
pretty
the
much.
show.
Yeah, the beautiful
There's a scene
women,
with his laying-
beefcake Henry Cavill, awesome, sweet.
When he's laying in bed with that one girl and he's like dwarfs her because of how fucking humongous he is, so I'm like, holy shit. Like, he tries to lay on his side and he looks uncomfortable because of how much mass he has. It's absurd. It's so fucking absurd. But I'm all for it.
Will Henry Cavill come back as Superman?
Anyways, moving on. Let's talk about Marvel.
Well, that was a
'cause
yes
fuck
or no
DC.
question.
I don't want to talk about DC. DC has yet to make one good fucking movie besides the Joker.
I also was muted.
What was your answer?
My answer was that he probably will, but
Yeah. But he doesn't know it yet.
I would
No.
prefer to see him as James Bond, honestly.
James Bond.
Why not? Give me one good reason not to see Henry Cavill as James Bond.
I think he's written at some point as a very high candidate on the list.
So are we done Henry Cavilling about?
No. I want to see more of that
else?
man. He's so fucking humongous.
All right. Anything else, or should we carry on, gentlemen?
Carry on.
All right. What's our next topic?
I don't know. You nerds have all your dumb stuff you want to talk about. I mean, your awesome, great podcast-worthy topics.
Oh, thank you. So I want to bring up a little anecdote. Do you guys remember like that old cliche where like the wife is getting? Can you stop making background noise? Thank you.
What?
No, you're still doing it.
It's called
still doing it.
editing.
Jesus.
Okay, do you guys remember that little anecdote? Wait. Fuck, you fucking. I have an anecdote.
Okay, just
Do you guys
cut
remember
all
that
of this
old
out.
I haven't. Do you remember that old cliche where like the wife is getting ready for like a dinner event and she's like putting on a dress and she was like, "Does this make my butt look big?" And then
Sure.
the husband's like, "No, no, no, no." But like in these days, the girl will be like, "Does this make my butt look good?" And we're like, "Damn, girl, it better look big." Like, isn't it crazy how like society has like changed so much?
You mean how?
It's kind of crazy. I think I may. Oh, guys, my scheduling's off. I think there's another podcast I have to be at.
You can be two podcasts at once.
Yeah,
I
my
don't know,
bad.
I just thought that was funny.
So you decided like, hey, we had enough of The Witcher, so I could bring up a girl's ass. That was your whole.
Yeah, I
fucking
don't know
point.
anything. I don't know anything about The Witcher.
I just want to say to any future employers, I do not condone this objectifying
Neither
of
do
women.
I. Kevin's a sexist pig.
I love women.
You see, you heard it here first, folks. He loves women.
Yeah, we usually.
Well, should I say I hate women?
Let's just say for the
Whoa.
audience. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, crazy. New podcast time.
I can't win.
Okay,
I'm
so
asexual.
we're
There we
trying to
go.
hold off of Star Wars because we really want to talk about it, but
No, we don't. Fuck Star Wars. It's all about Star
oh yeah,
Trek here.
just because. Yeah, let's move to Star Trek. What's
There's
what's
Can we
the
move on to
just-
another fucking like
I think it's
mediocre
Halo.
science? Yeah, I was gonna say let's move on to another mediocre science fiction story called Halo, and
Oh,
how
this one hurts.
it's fucking.
hurts.
I know it hurts, but I'm just so like baffled by their recent decisions ever since what?
So for those of you unaware, 343 Industry Studio Incorporated,
Sucks.
as I call them on this channel,
If they watch
has,
this channel, they know.
has 343 has recently introduced a new system to Halo Infinite, yet to come out. And for anyone who's played a Halo game, you are an armored soldier, and your armor comes in a primary and secondary color. And your primary color, I would say, takes 70% of your armor, while your secondary is the other 20 and 30. And that is the way it has worked in Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 5, since 2001 to 2015, and so on and so forth till today, till 2020. So for the past 19 years, you've had a primary and secondary color. That is until the recent addition of the new Halo Infinite armor system, where you have 7 layers. Now, at first sight, this sounds good and promising, and the Spartan armor that they had revealed in addition to this announcement looked very nice. The armor looked very good, and they announced this new coloring system for more in depth. So you have 7 layers, so there are 7 sections of your armor set where you can change said color. So even if you wanted a more traditional sense, you could just make those 7 layers the same color. But the problem is that from what we can tell is that the players do not have control of these layers. The closest you can do is they mentioned that like creators could create like these skins, these colors sets, these pre-made permutations, and then add them to the game, which can be purchased for money. I.e., you are paying for the color purple. You are paying for the color pink. You are paying to be yellow. If I want to look like Donut from Red vs. Blue, I might have to shell out $5 to be completely solid pink. I don't know how the system fully works yet. And it pisses me off so much that just like the ridiculous notion you can charge me for weapon charms, you can charge me for vehicle skins, you can charge me for whatever else, because I'm sure they will have other
town, you know.
They'll have other cosmetics and such, but the fact that you were charging me to be a color, and of course they mentioned they kind of went under the radar because everyone's so angry that you can unlock these in game without paying money, which is fine, I guess. But it's the fact that I have little control over a color.
And hold on, a quick note before we get ahead of ourselves. I think the issue isn't that, oh my god, they're taking colors away, because it's a fucking color, you know. The fact is that they're actively removing player agency. The fact that they're replacing a system that has come default in the game since back in 2001 with Combat Evolved. They're removing that and replacing it with a system simply to monetize it. You know, and that's not even going with the fact that they're also monetizing emblems now. And they're adding a whole new emblem. So there's nameplates and armor emblems. So there's emblems that go on your character's armor, and another one that just indicates like right next to your gamer tag, I guess, in a lobby, similar to how emblems work in Destiny. So they have 2 new emblems, and they're both monetized, which is fucking absurd. Mind you, you could create your own emblem straight out of the box for free. Well, not for free, but within the game. And now they're like, nope, we have preset emblems, and we're gonna charge you money for them too. And I think that's the issue.
Something new. Yeah, if they want to introduce something new, like I said, vehicle skins, weapon charms, which have been added to Halo recently, charge me for that. I don't care. But it is insulting. It is downright insulting.
It's absurd.
It's bonkers. It's ludicrous. Yeah. It's silly. It is. Did I say absurd? I'll say it again if need be. It is just not right. It is a horrendous decision, and it is an offensive decision towards the community because it's just. I don't know how many ways you can say it. It just cut and dry is a terrible decision, and I do not know what Microsoft, what Xbox, or what 343 executives said, this is a good idea. The players will love this.
Yeah.
No. Who
Well,
made this
I don't think
decision?
it's.
I would like to talk to their mother. I would like to sit them down and say, your son or daughter, I want to be inclusive, is being a horrible person right now and should be fired from their job. Not really, but I think they should heavily reconsider. And honestly, George, to look towards the future, so here's the thing. Halo Infinite was supposed to come out in November.
Mhm.
The game has been delayed to an unknown date. 6 to 12 months later is the likely thing. The community is in a content drought. There is nothing else to discuss. So this is all the Halo community is talking about right now because we
Rightfully
have
so, I
nothing else
think.
to talk about. And rightfully so, thank God. Like I said before, coronavirus was probably this game's blessing in disguise because we would have launched with this god-awful color system. But at least now we can complain and complain about it for the next year, and I think optimistically speaking, they're going to change it in some way because this is
I
just horrible.
highly doubt that. I mean, I doubt that because there's already promotions with name brand crap like Monster, Chips Ahoy. There's so many fucking. We know more about the monetization about the game than the game itself, which is fucking stupid. Plain and simple.
Mommy, gameplay,
And
please.
Jacob, as somebody from the outside looking in, how does this look to you?
Shut up, Jacob.
It
I'll make you flinch from here.
it looks not good. Uh,
Oh, that's a hot
Back
take.
to the weather.
I don't know. It's just like I understand.
Jacob, what's your favorite color?
So shut up. The
Because you got to pay for it.
so how is the actual like how are they monetize? They're like you had to buy the game, right? Like you're gonna buy
Yeah, the so
Well,
you buy Halo
Infinite right
Infinite.
now. Yeah, Infinite right now. It seems like the campaign is purchasable. It's gonna be on Game Pass day one, but that's the purchasable part. Whereas the multiplayer is gonna be free to play. The
Okay.
thing in
Okay.
question is we don't know how much the campaign is gonna cost, and we don't know if Forge and like custom and theater. We don't know where that's gonna go, and is that gonna go into the paid version or is that gonna go into the free to play? You know.
I think it's going to be in the paid.
Yeah.
And the
So
question
That's what
relies
I
if
think.
they're making multiplayer free to play, is Infinite gonna drop in price or is it gonna they're still gonna ask us $60 for it? We don't know.
okay.
And
So
I
I
think
think the
that's what's
campaign's going to be
aggravating
pretty
to me.
beefy, but sorry to cut you off.
okay. So yeah. So I'm not against when you have a free to play model or even when you have a paid model. I am
Mhm.
not against. I used to be, but I kind of understand as I got older is that cosmetics and aesthetic stuff that has nothing to do with gameplay. That stuff to me, I am never bothered if that is made like purchasable through microtransactions. You know, if you want to get whatever a chrome shiny suit or something for your character in whatever game, I'm never against that because it doesn't have any practical effect. Then sure, whatever.
Yeah.
What makes this different with Halo, though, and I understand this, is that there's the talk about the you guys were talking about the shaders and like the buying shaders that you put on your character because I guess they're not going with the old
Yeah.
armor customization like
Think of it
customization they
as
used to have.
Destiny 1's shaders.
Right. So that is something I would be against because and as someone that's like not nearly the Halo fans that you guys are, but I've played all of them. I haven't played all of them through, but
Yeah.
I've played Reach and 4 and 5 all the way through, and I've played a good chunk of the originals and ODST. And something that has always resonated with me is the fact that, especially in Reach, like Reach was one of my favorite games with the color. I would have different color customizations for my Spartan depending on what armor I was wearing. Like it was fun to do that. I enjoyed it. There was nothing,
Yeah.
there was nothing I had to do. You just had the colors, and so it does feel wrong. Feels very wrong. Kind of a too far shift away from what was part of what seemed like was a big part of the franchise by making that something that you can't earn or you can't all earn it through putting it behind progression is one thing. That's I'm against that too. But at least in that case, okay, cool. You just have to play to get it, whatever. But making it purchasable, that that definitely is like okay,
Yeah.
that really sits
Yeah, and
wrong with me, and it goes away from
their
what I think they're.
justification for
Yeah.
it is that shaders are they're gonna retool the way color mapping is on the armor. So you know how in Reach, for example, whenever you had the selection of two colors, and typically it was just like the primary color, and then the secondary color would just like
Well, I
affect
already
your.
described that.
I know, but that would just affect your legs and your forearms. Whereas in Infinite, it's just gonna be like Destiny 1 shaders where you apply it and it's on the full set, as far as we understand. And I think the issue with that is, I, I, I think in a perfect world, it would have been here. We're gonna introduce these things called shaders or a new color optimization for players, and we're gonna introduce new patterns, new color mapping, new textures, and you could purchase them and earn those through game, but you could change the color willingly within those patterns, within those color mappings, and within those
I'm
textures.
fine paying with textures as well. Like if they just want to keep like one texture regular and then the other textures, like because there's like there's like
Yeah.
weathered armor. There might be like new fresh armor. I don't care.
Even
Like,
that
if you want to
I
keep
don't like, because Doom 2016 did it. In Doom 2016, you had a slider for how weathered
yes,
your
but
armor could
this
be.
is maybe I'm lowering my standards here,
I
but like
think you
from what
are,
I've come
yeah.
to expect from Halo, like you just get the one armor set,
Yeah.
like in Reach it's weathered, and like Halo 3 it's kind of like shiny, in
Mm-hmm.
5 it looks terrible. But like I mean, if they want to charge for that, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be happy, but I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But to charge for colors again, like if you want to like charge me for like some like crazy wacky skin that's a part of like that stuff, then sure. But like the basic colors, to be pink, to be myself is insulting.
Yeah, it's just the fact that they're completely retooling it so that you can't change the color willingly, and every color is just going to be a different shader. I think that's my biggest issue. Like I said, a perfect compromise would just be, yeah, introduce color mapping and all these other things, but let the person change the color within those parameters. I have no issue with that. And even then, like for example, you have the default color mapping, and you could like that comes with the game, and it's just something we're all used to, and you could change the colors within that. And but then they have like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be season passes or battle passes like MCC and every other fucking game now has. If they had something like that where it's like, hey, look, this new shader is going to change, it's going to change where your color goes, but you can still change the colors within, like I said, within those maps. I'm fine with that 100%. But the fact that there is locking colors, like, it's so fucking boneheaded. Like, how greedy can you fucking be
I
that
don't
you're
know.
gonna
Like that's
monetize colors of
yeah.
all
Like
things?
it's just, and I hate talking about it, not because it hurts, but because it's just such a simple thing. Colors.
Not even
Like
Destiny charges for
like
fucking colors, for
I'm
fuck's sake. God
fighting
damn.
for yellow right now. Like I hate talking about it. I don't want to talk
It's
about
so
this stuff.
dumb.
This
It's
makes.
so dumb.
Can we get a happier topic?
It's dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Can we
It's
let's
ridiculous.
talk. Did I talk about the ass thing again? Can we just go back in time to 20 minutes ago when I was
Oh
in a
no.
slightly better mood? All right.
I'm in terms of games we're looking forward to. I mean, you guys don't really have anything coming up besides Cyberpunk in December, right? But even then, Kevin, you're kind of
Yeah.
iffy about it.
Well, so here's
Um,
the thing. I never heard about Cyberpunk until Keanu Reeves. Not Keanu Reeves, when the year before Keanu Reeves, they're like, we got one more game. And then like they hacked like the stage at E3,
Oh
and I
yeah.
was like, what is this? And everyone's like, it's here, it's here. I was like, what is this? And it was Cyberpunk.
I think the original trailer was in 2014 or something
2013.
like that.
2013.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
It's
The game
absurd.
the game now looks better than the cinematic trailer that they announced in 2013, which is
The
redonkulous.
thing is that this game is so fucking ambitious, but unlike Star Citizen, I think this game's actually gonna come out.
But
Ha ha ha.
yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna
It's
play
sad, it's true.
Cyberpunk. I'm looking. George is really looking forward to Cyberpunk, even if he's disappointed with the delays. But
I'm all right with it. I'm actually more intrigued about that multiplayer that's gonna come out as a separate entity. It's gonna be Cyberpunk multiplayer, but it's gonna come out 2 years after.
yeah, it's its own game. It's its
this
own
one.
game at that point.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued because I think that if you know how we've in the past discussed how Rockstar desperately needs good competition. 'Cause
Yes.
GTA Online, like, gee, fuck that game. Fuck. I had fun originally, but now the fact that there's fucking flying motorcycles blowing shit up and everything's like $1 million, I'm like, this game isn't fucking fun anymore.
My
It-
poor
it-
sister is playing that
It
game
handles
right now.
it handles like shit. Running and driving in GTA Online is garbage.
I
So if you know, if Cyberpunk could come out with an actual good, like, oh shit, this is an actual competitor, similar to how Saints Row tried to be but couldn't. If that could be an actual competitor, I'm all for
Saints
it.
Row Online could have been a competitor. If Just Cause had online, it could have been a competitor, but they just don't. But I think this game could finally be the competition Rockstar so desperately needs. Red Dead
I don't.
Online. Red
It
Dead
won't.
Online.
It won't.
Who said
It absolutely.
Who
It
said
absolutely won't because I mean we're saying okay like I'm not angry by any means by a CD Projekt Red because I didn't pre-order anything. I'll just buy it day one probably. Look, I'm not like sitting here shaking my fist like you bastards, like you promised me. I'm not angry about it or anything like that, but I am curious because I know they're delaying it because they're trying to get it right, and I respect that. I'm never quite mad at delays. Like CD Projekt Red has kind of has a much better track record than a lot of these other developers or even publishers. So it's easy to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sure
right
we've
now.
all heard the quote, a rushed game is forever bad, but a delayed game is eventually good.
Maybe.
Well, that's the quote.
But here's the thing though. I'm not saying
Duke Nukem forever.
I don't have a
spits
quote
in the
checker.
face of that fucking quote.
Honestly, Kevin, did they say that in Duke Nukem? Really?
No, I'm just saying that game was delayed for like 10 years and it came out.
was
and
made
it was
by
like, what
one
the
guy.
fuck is this garbage?
That does sound like
Either way.
that quote would come from that game because that game was super meta.
They try to poke fun at Halo and Gears of War and they just
Okay.
like,
What were you saying?
But so I'm questioning whether that multiplayer will ever be even seen or they'll even try to make it a challenger to GTA Online. Because first of all, GTA Online is a behemoth that has never been challenged.
Well, what do you think
Also,
the online will be?
Well, here's the thing though. I have questions about how long it'll take for that game even to come out. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the way how long Cyberpunk took and the fact that this game isn't supposed to be launched until like 2022, I believe, the multiplayer.
Yeah.
Check me on that. I think it'll take so long. It might take so long to come out. We might actually, and I can't believe I'm saying this, we might actually almost have a new GTA by
Yeah,
then.
I was gonna say.
I'm fine
So,
with
like-
that. If they come out parallel, I'm fine with that.
Well,
No,
That's just
yeah.
Well, part of the process was just like the new engine and like building I assume the multiplayer takes place in the same map, right?
I would think so.
I feel like
would
once
think so, yeah.
like for
have
development of
to.
the game, like a lot of the groundwork is already there.
Yeah.
The reason for this delay specifically was for the extra 20 days is because they have 9 different versions of the game to test. They have it on PC, on like all 3 Xboxes, PlayStation 5, Stadia, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and I'm missing one more, maybe another Xbox. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the only reason I brought it up is just because the sheer existence, I would assume, of a Cyberpunk Online, I think that alone would at least light a fire under Rockstar's ass.
Yes.
Even if there is a GTA 6 and a GTA 6 Online, I in my opinion, GTA 6 Online could only be better by the sheer existence of a Cyberpunk Online.
Yeah,
If
I work at Rockstar and I see the hype around this game, and if it launches good, and I hear about a multiplayer, I think it'd be wise for Rockstar to be like, okay, at least like pay attention to what.
Granted, if the Cyberpunk Online is more than just like 2 or 4 players, if it's like they could hold anywhere near the amounts of GTA Online,
If
'cause
it
you
has
saw how
lobbies,
dense those,
like,
yeah,
big
if it
old
has
lobbies,
lobbies, then yeah.
I think technology is going to a point where that will be a feasible thing. I think another game that will eventually come out is Beyond Good and Evil 2, but we will talk about that another day. Another day.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
think, but
we
honestly,
can't go anywhere
I
with that.
think-
We really can't. It hurts.
I think a Cyberpunk Online would actually probably I think it'll be more like what Fallout 76 tried to be, but failed so miserably at it. Because it's an RPG, and GTA is not an RPG. It's just an open world sandbox game.
So again, as we started off this podcast on our very first episode, I was under acquiesce delegated role as moderator, and I'm looking at the time right now, and I'd hate to, and I'm very proud that we just cyberpunked our way through like 5-10 minutes right now, but I think it's time, gentlemen, for the midichlorian.
Can you start bringing up the time?
Why?
Jesus, I'm trying to just have a good conversation.
I don't want this to.
We gotta.
I'm just trying to
Well, hold on.
bro.
Okay, every podcast
Yeah,
I've ever
same.
listened to, they're always like, "Oh, we gotta do time," which I never
Because
really
they're getting
understood.
paid.
That's true, but it's always their. I don't know. I don't care about.
They have
podcasts.
time slots for ad reads.
Well, hold on.
Jacob, what's our ad for today?
This podcast is brought to you by Voodoo Ranger.
What?
Damn, bro, I don't even drink, but they make me want to be an alcoholic.
Ah, yes, Voodoo Ranger.
Seriously,
Drink responsibly.
how easy would it be to get a Raid Shadow Legends sponsor? Because if they do that, I
This
will.
episode is brought to you by
I really
Raid
hope
Shadow
We
Legends.
I
we
really
do
hope
the
your next
read.
video's sponsored by
Oh,
We
Raid.
do
you
the
know
read
what?
now, and then we get sponsored. They pay us.
I
Um,
can't.
no, I'm serious. No, seriously, topic-wise, I forgot we didn't even talk about Road Company.
What?
It's a good game.
I thought George was joking.
No,
It's a
no,
good
no.
game.
I mean, George has been
It's
playing
a
it a
good
lot.
I've been playing it.
I rage
That
a
game-
lot, but it's a good game.
I'm really good at that game.
No,
I'm
you're
not
not.
gonna lie.
That game kind of
I'm
just came out of
really
nowhere, and I was like, oh, it's kind of fun. But, personally, I
It's
can't play it like
fun.
George does. I can play
Because you don't rage quit.
It's funny. I play a few rounds. I'm like, oh, it's fun, but I have to get off. And which doesn't sound like a
Yeah,
really
that's what I'm trying
good,
to do.
which doesn't sound like a good, promotion of the game or a good, yeah, go play it. But really, it did feel like it's fun for a few rounds, and it's good. It's free. It's fine. Like, it's not that big
And
of a
the reasoning
game,
behind it
so
is because it's very competitive. That's why.
yeah,
And you gotta
not-
try. You gotta try the team deathmatch mode because it's a lot. You get a lot more fun and more time within than just the objective, since you have 12 lives per round.
Okay.
Well, at least a 12 live pool per round versus just a single life you have per
Yeah,
round.
but
on the
I would,
objective
I
ones.
would not beseech you all, but I would drop it down to I would implore you all to at least give out Rogue Company a try. And when you play,
It's
enjoy
free.
it.
It'll cost you
You
nothing.
go to your friend and be like, hey man, try out Rogue Company, and they're like, yeah, I would get it, but it costs money. Then you hit them with that, it's free though, and then they have to download it, or they're a terrible friend. And then you.
And
get
it's not
some
even a
love for it.
high gig. Count
It's
either.
10.
Let
It's
me
like
check
10
right now.
gigs. It is the size of an Xbox 360 game. It is 10, 11 gigawatts.
Nice.
All right. So okay, so if they got an excuse about money,
Actually,
nope, it's free.
it's 12 gigs. you
Shut up,
lying
we'll kill you.
sack of
If they got an
human
excuse about their
garbage.
terrible internet or how much hard drive space, they have 12 gigs. Like, this is the no excuses game. It's small, it's free. Play
It's
it
fun.
today. This is sponsored by Rogue Company.
It's very
We-
competitive though.
It's
I mean-
they're adding skill-based matchmaking actually.
Yeah,
down
but
the
I'm saying
line.
like the best way to put it, it's a third person shooter that has a lot of
Elements.
it's like a hero shooter sort of, because you have different characters you could pick and they all have different passive abilities and different active abilities, and each of them have different weapons and whatnot.
And
But
you
it's a
buy
third
it,
person
like, in the
shooter that
realm, like CS:GO.
yeah, and you have like you have the CS:GO economy of you purchase weapons and equipment before rounds.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's just fun.
Again, it's I don't know, it's just worth trying. I guess this was a small advert for it where we don't get paid, but just endorse the game and recommend it.
The best
Rogue
way that
Company.
I put it is that the gunplay for that PvP, for a third person PvP, is what I wanted Gears PvP to be. Because Gears PvP it says bounce, 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 shotgun.
I
Bounce, bounce,
I
bounce,
love
shotgun.
watching clips of Gears
I fucking
PvP.
hate
Like
it.
I still want to make like a video of me playing the PvP because you look so stupid. Like the good players look so stupid because they're like cheating the cover
It's not
system,
fun.
and it's like bing bing
It's
bing
not
bing bing bing
fun
bing, like
at
they're
all.
bouncing like a ping pong.
Like it's a cover shooter, yeah, and it's a
Like,
cover shooter, and they bitched at the
my
launch
God.
of Gears 5 when you actually had to take cover because they buffed the Lancer, so you could actually get killed for just running and bouncing.
That's so funny.
They're like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to bounce around and shotgun people. I'm like, you fucking
Bing
my
boing,
goodness.
like it's like what's the ping? What's the thing that the game that you press the ball with? I can't remember the name.
And before you fuckers say, oh, you gotta get good, I suck at it. That's why I only stick to Horde.
What is
Fucking
it
shit.
called? Jacob, what is it called? The like the little
The ping pong.
no, not ping pong.
pinball?
Ping-ball. There we go. Is that it?
It's not ping ball. It's pinball.
Pinball. I'm making ping-ball.
Sure.
And speaking of Gears, you could play as Batista. As you heard that? No,
Yeah.
no. The new thing where they're replacing Marcus in the campaign with Batista, fully modeled and voiced by Batista.
Okay,
Yeah.
because for those of you unaware, Dave Bautista has been actively pursuing the role as Marcus Phoenix in a live action movie. We
All
actually
the
talked
power
about
to
that
him.
on our last podcast episode, a bad podcast episode 2, which came out 6 months ago. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Do we want to now?
I don't know. I mean, Dave Bautista I could see him playing the role, but I don't think he's as good as an actor as Pedro Pascal in The Mandalorian. You know?
Whoa. The man.
Because I mean, Pedro Pascal in season 1 of The Mandalorian, you could clearly tell that Pedro Pascal's actually in the armor a lot more this time around than in season one. Because in season one, there were a lot of times where it was just like, yeah, clearly he's just doing the voice acting for the body double, and it was a little jarring. But I'm like, it's passable. But this time, I'm like, yep, that's him, all right.
Because as you had
And
mentioned
it's
yesterday,
good.
like the in season one, like the Mandalorian is very like stiff and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he's
But like Pedro
incredibly
Pascal is
stiff.
like more like loosey goosey, not like but like hey, chill, like loosey goosey. You know what I mean? And I guess I had
He's a
never
real
I
cowboy.
had never noticed it much. Like I had thought about it on my
Look, yeah,
rewatch. I was like,
that first episode is very,
I was like, how
noticeable.
often is that Pedro and how often is that Bill or whoever his
Yeah, because in
body
season
double
one, you
is?
have a lot of shots of them just focusing in on Mando, like staring. And clearly, this was a shot where, like, I'm guessing in the script he was supposed to say something, but then they cut it out afterwards, and so he's just staring randomly. Like, I'm like, okay,
I don't know,
sure.
but do we want to talk
Good
about the
season.
episode or do we have anything else to add? Because I want to.
Let's go, because we can
Okay.
talk about this for a while. I don't know
Okay,
how
so
long
the
of a
first
podcast you
thing,
want.
the thing I absolutely loved the most, Baby Yoda.
We're talking
but also,
spoilers now, or no?
yes, this is gonna come out in like a
Okay,
week or two.
spoilers talk.
If you
We
are
mentioned that.
listening past this point, you will listen to spoilers. If you click on this podcast, when it's literally going to be have like Mandalorian in the title, and you spoiled for me, dude. Like, rethink your life.
Yeah,
Anyways, moving on. Spoilers.
Okay, the thing I loved the most is when the giant worm god came out from Destiny and they started shooting it. The screen dimensions changed, and it was so fluid. I didn't notice it at first. I was like a minute in. I was like, "Why does this look different?"
The
And
aspect ratio.
yeah, the aspect ratio. I always call it screen dimensions, whatever. But it changed like as the worm was coming. Like, I was like, "Oh my god, that was so awesome!" Like that was such a good like transition. The last time I
Right.
saw a movie do that good of a transition was
Very subtle.
What there was the Hunger Games actually. You know.
Okay, so
Well, geez, just stomp over my excitement.
yeah, exactly. 100%. I'm talking about my things. So George, do you remember? And Kevin, if you remember, I'll be impressed. George, do you
Mhm.
remember the scene when in the New Hope? Because we're going way back. In the New Hope,
Yeah.
when Luke is
The
initially
skeleton.
he's initially getting an astromech droid from the Jawas. He's getting R5D4.
Yeah.
And then
That's him.
yeah, so Kevin, if you didn't know, and people are watching, so in the beginning of towards the beginning of this episode, when Mando lands
that's the
on
same
Tatooine, right? So that droid, and they purposely do this. I'm sure both Jon
I'll be right
Favreau
back.
and Dave Filoni were like, let's do this. So back in New Hope, Luke goes to get astromech from the Jawas. They're selling all these things, and as Luke is heading back to his aunt, where he lives with his aunt and uncle, a little panel pops up off the astromech, which is R5D4, and or just call him R5. And he blows what they call a motivator, and I forget exactly what a motivator does. But essentially, they immediately got an astromech from the Jawas, and it basically breaks. So the Jawas have to to keep their reputation, I guess, as like selling stuff that actually works, so people buy stuff from them. Traded out R5 for, you guess it, R2D2. And so, yeah, so the whole idea is that in that moment is like there was even a theory that R5 was force sensitive. And
Of course there
yeah,
was.
there's
Of
always
course there
theory.
was.
There was even a theory that R5 was force sensitive and he broke himself on purpose. So
What the
R2D2.
fuck?
Yeah, there's theories. It's Star. You know what's funny? It's Star Wars, so could be a thing because we're
No,
just
it
making things
can't.
up. Are you sure? Because we make up things as we go
It's
along
a
now in the
fucking
Disney
robot.
era.
Yeah.
But
It's a
anyways,
fucking robot.
so yeah, so that when I can't remember her name, when the lady on Tatooine who's helped Mando before on the child, baby Yoda.
I don't think they've said her name.
I can't recall her name.
I don't think they've said her name.
I can't really call many names at all in
Who,
that
the
show, and
mechanic?
yeah, the mechanic. I can't recall a lot of names. I should have,
Yeah, when she's
Yeah.
like, "Can I buy it?" I'm kidding, but not really. That's like the
Yeah.
entire fandom.
yeah. So she, so anyway, so yeah, she called R5, and they purposely shown the shot, and I pulled it up here. I pulled up the episode,
Yeah, like
and
the-
they
the
clearly showed the burn mark exactly
fun.
over the same exact panel. Because I also brought up the scene in A New Hope.
Yeah, no, it's clearly the same droid.
Let's get Jacob. Let's return Jacob to good Star Wars. Let's talk about the new episode.
Yeah, so about Mandalorian. Mandalorian is good.
George, what was like your favorite part of that episode, if you can nail it down, if possible?
Well,
Baby
I had
Yoda.
a few good scenes. Obviously, Baby Yoda when he's smiling, Why he's on the speeder? That was cute. But I think just right off the bat, I really like how that shot right out of the gate where like Baby Yoda and Mando are walking and
Yeah,
they
like they're like
walk
a
into.
team now. Like they're like the
I was
team.
like, hey, that's a pretty cool shot.
Like
You
they're
know.
iconic together now at this point. Well, I don't know
Hmm.
iconic, but
But I
yeah.
mean, like obviously the scene where he's at the wrestling match and then he's fighting and then they try punching his helmet and then he hurt himself and he notices that so he starts using his helmet to fight back
Yeah, I was like,
and
I'm
that was
surprised
just cool.
Yeah, I like that they're.
And it's the
They
one
incorporated
liner
that.
where the mobster was like, I thought you didn't gamble, and he's like, I don't, and then he kills like a bunch of them and like that's cool, you know, like right out of the gate I noticed that they're giving a lot more personality to Mando and Baby Yoda.
Mendo.
And I really appreciate that. I didn't want Mando to just be this, oh, I'm this very stoic and quiet guy who just. I know. I just wanted some characterization to him. I didn't want him to just be another stone walled character.
So,
Yeah.
pretty funny. I typed in characters in the Mandalorian just so I could get some names on Google, and
Cartoon.
it does a pretty good job. It's getting characters that are going to probably appear in the later season. But then it shows Yaddle, which is the female Yoda.
Yes.
She
Um,
dead though.
Yes.
and then after Berg, who was like the Hellboy looking guy in season one on the ship that was the episode with Bill Burr.
With the
Um,
horns? Or
yeah,
Bill
the
Burr?
horns. After him, it shows Javier Pena, which is the name of Pedro Pascal's character in Narcos. So I don't know why that's up there, but
Why
We're
not?
gonna have some
like
Mexican drug trade in Star Wars now.
yes, like
Oh.
interdimensional like stuff going on.
So it didn't surprise George since I guess he knew about the character prior due to some extra lore. But when he's like, "Oh, the Marshal," and then the Marshal shows up and like they hold on it for a second, he doesn't say anything, and then like they deliberately do that, and like I said out loud,
Yeah.
like, "Is that him?" I was like, "Is that him?" And then like he
Well,
talks, I'm like, "Okay, it's
the
not
thing
him."
is that that was a really good technique because they purposefully like hold it. So it's like, oh shit, it's Boba Fett, you know? But
Yeah.
then they hold it as well to be like, wait a minute, it doesn't fit him. And I
Yeah.
think they purposely made it so like you could clearly tell that this armor isn't meant for this fucking guy.
Yeah.
You know, because it
That,
doesn't
yeah.
fit at all.
And then he takes
And I'm
off
like,
the
oh.
helmet, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Now everything.
Yeah, so as he took off the helmet and then they keep on Mando, where he's like, you could clearly tell he's like
bro, what the
cursing
fuck?
under his breath and just staring at him with
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
good. It's a really
Yeah.
good episode.
So
I'll trim my pinky.
I'm gonna be the actually guy.
Uh-oh.
Actually,
So
Uh-oh.
no.
I'm not gonna talk about the cinematography and stuff and how they do shots. I think though from more someone I guess because you guys know like I was always excited for like a Boba Fett movie or appearance or something like that. And I
Something
think it
to
was,
actually make him redeem the character.
right.
I'm the same
And
boat.
so I've read some stuff about him, and I ran into the name Cobb Vanth, who is the name that
Yeah, the
who's
Marshal.
the Marshal. I guess in the lore, I don't know if it's the still canon lore, or if it's the Legends lore. He's actually the sheriff. So either way, he's the Marshal or the sheriff. But we're gonna call him the Marshal because that's what Mandalorian calls him. Played by the wonderful and very attractive Timothy Oliphant. But anyways,
That
moving
man
on.
is aging gracefully.
Gracefully. But
I need his barber. Jesus,
so-
that hairstyle was good.
I knew they weren't gonna show. I knew they weren't gonna show. It was gonna be Boba Fett because Boba Fett would never become a marshal of a town.
Yeah,
It's like-
exactly.
he would never. He's like, oh yes, I was in Sarlacc pit and survived. Let me be a cop. No, he wasn't gonna come back and do that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when they showed it, they made it very apparent. They made it clear. It was like that's Boba Fett's armor. But then yeah, like you said, like even for
Yeah, no,
the untrained eye, even for the untrained eye, look at it like, well, that doesn't make sense.
I think they were aiming for Kevin's reaction, where like the initial
Yeah.
response is like, "Oh shit, it's Boba Fett," but then you're like, "Wait a minute,"
Boba Jango.
you know?
Boba
You're like, wait a
Jango.
minute, that's not him, because clearly, like the character, like the costume design is like, "Yo, this doesn't fit the guy," and it's very
Yeah.
purposeful. Like you compare him to Mando, Mando's like it's clearly like
Made for him.
exactly. Whereas this guy's like he's too tall. He's just it doesn't fit. The proportions are completely off, and he doesn't even
think we'll
have
see
like
a-
the full armor. It's just the torso, the shoulder pads, the wrist guards, and the helmet. On the jetpack, and that's it. Another good shot, in my opinion, is where you see Cobb Vanth, I think that's his name, the Marshal, and the Mando, yes, flying.
Oh, that was cool.
That
Like
was
they just take off. I was like, oh, this is like it just felt right.
yeah, and they're flying. They did. I was just like, oh, there goes the budget. This, I love it. I
There,
love it.
there was tons and tons of little details and little things they put in there that I had to go back and like basically get from the experts, the people who really pay attention to the lore. I remember there was something where like
The YouTubers.
well, I mean, yes, those guys they're YouTubers, but they're also like these guys.
6,000 things you didn't realize in season 2, episode 1.
No, not that, but these are the guys who dive into the lore, and so when they talk about it, it's like there's so much more stuff I didn't even think about. Like the sticks that the Tusken Raiders have. These are they're called Gaddafi sticks, Gaddafi sticks or something like that.
Gaddafi.
And that's the and that's the ones that they that's one that they lift above. No, God, that was somehow worse than mine. They
That's why they
showed
do that call, right?
yeah, and they showed there's one side where it's clearly a spear where you can stab people with it, and then the other side it like curves and it's kind of goofy looking, and people always wondering what do we do with that side, and so they showed one of the Tusken Raiders cleaning the teeth of one of the is it the banthas I believe they're called one of the banthas and like clean her teeth with it, and the guys were like, oh, you can do something with that, like it's actually now or a gaffy stick,
and that's why we love Dave Filoni.
Filoni and Favreau.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was saying.
And another one. You remember how? What was it? And I forget where this was at. I think it was episode 4, where like, oh, it can't, like there's too many tracks. It can't be Sand People because Sand People, they travel in a single file line. And guess what? When they approach the village, they're traveling in a single file line.
When they approached the village, or like they weren't like it was like a little small building thing. Like I love the music that played when they like showed up, like when they come around the hill and then they search. I don't know. I really like that. It was a good song.
It was just a good episode. And when you see when Mando blows up that big ass crate, the fact that we finally see a fucking crate dragon when they tease it all the way since A New Hope and C-3PO and R2-D2 just nonchalantly roll past a big ass fucking skeleton, and we never fucking actually see it.
That's
like. And apparently Obi-Wan in the beginning of New Hope, apparently the sound he was making was supposed to mimic a Krayt Dragon. That's what scared off the Tusken Raiders.
Wow.
Even though they're just even him just making that sound, even clearly not looking like a Krayt Dragon.
I still subscribe to the theory that Obi-Wan was just screaming in Tusken. So like, ooh, I'm a Jedi.
Oh, shut up!
Anakin just killed an entire fucking village, men, women, and children too. I would expect them to at least for that to be like, like the boogeyman for Tusken Raiders, where it's like, oh, they're, because I mean, for him to just go out there and just murder everybody, and then they see like people decapitated and limbless, and it's just scorch marks.
Still don't know. They probably don't know much about Jedi. Still, they're very secluded.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, in the canon, there's a Jedi Tusken Raider, but I'm not going to get into it.
That sounds okay, but anyway,
yeah.
But no, that's one thing I love about this show is like it fills the holes. It like answers the questions, and I think the biggest question.
Star Wars.
And I think the biggest question is, what is Yoda? Who is Yoda? What is the species? Like I think it's like the biggest question, and they're building up to it. I think we'll get the answer this season.
I hope they never answer it.
I hope they do answer it finally.
Honestly, I hope
we run into like a whole bunch of Yodas, but it's like all the Yodas that we like see in episode 2. When does he meet Yoda? 3? I don't know. But like how he's like a crazy frog, and I hope it's just like a whole
episode
village.
5.
Yeah, like it's a whole village of stupid crazy Yodas. Like, that would be the dumbest thing ever. I would love it.
Before we get too far away from the Krayt Dragon, do you guys ever like read or hear about what? Do you guys remember that at the end they picked up like it looked like a giant pearl?
Yeah,
what it was. The Tusken Raiders, and they all cheer about it.
I heard that's a reference to Cold War, right?
Yeah, yes, it's a reference. Yeah, to Knights of the Republic, and it's also according to I think according to canon, information about a Krayt Dragon pearl.
Jesus.
So a Krayt Dragon pearl rarely, and this is according to the Star Wars wiki. So I mean, who knows? But these nerds love this stuff. I do too. Whatever. Nerd. Rarely a stone a stone that these krayt dragons would ingest. So they would ingest stones to assist in digestion, and these stones could sometimes turn those stones into pearls. And according to the site, it says, quote, rarely a stone could contain a kyber crystal that would remain in a beast's gut, being refined over a life of the dragon until it formed a smooth, small sphere. Because the pearls were formed from kyber, they could be used in lightsabers.
Oh.
A lightsaber equipped one of these pearls emitted a very powerful and destructive blade that emitted a howling sound when ignited. So very Halloween themed.
That
But
sounds like something a Wookiee should use
yeah,
with like a wooden hilt, like a wooden hilt with like a fang at the end.
yeah, like we saw in the Clone Wars.
Bound.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that in the Clone Wars.
That sounds dope as fuck.
I don't. It could not. I won't overthink it, but of course, in Star Wars stuff, and they've been throwing so much little things here and there, that I wouldn't be surprised. I'm guessing that won't come back into play. I think it was very much just a nod. It was very much a nod to it. But it is interesting that information is there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, while we don't see anything in The Mandalorian, if they continue to have any other series based in this timeline before we think they're going to move on to a different like era of the universe or of the galaxy or whatever you want to call it.
When Baby Yoda's an adult.
I could see the pearl in general.
I could see maybe used somewhere else. Yeah, but not in the Mandalorian.
I mean, not the pearl that came out in the Mandalorian, but just a great pearl in general being brought back into fiction.
Actually, I'm changing my mind as I say that because I could definitely see something where somebody needs something and the Mandalorian remembers seeing that and then potentially having to portray the Tusken Raiders that has long been.
I think the pearl was just supposed to like answer the same question of like, because you know how the deal was, the Tusken Raiders will help just as long as they are able to keep the carcass. And I think they're like, well, why would they want the carcass? And I think it's just because of the pearl, and that's it.
I'm sure they have their purposes with it.
Maybe
I think that's it.
I think they're also getting. I think they're getting for food as well. I don't think they were completely.
Obviously, but I think that's
sex with it.
I don't think. I highly doubt. And honestly, I wouldn't want it to.
Imagine a Tusken Raider Jedi.
Jacob, he just said there was one, wasn't? So Jacob, I want to run. I ran this by George yesterday, but another important thing about the Mandalorian new season. Meme formats, and one I noticed immediately is when he starts speaking in Tusken and he throws his hand, you're like, whoa! Like that was an immediate meme. That is a meme format.
I gotta rewatch the episode.
I will be the first to make that meme. Me.
Okay.
All right.
And also, yes, of course, Kevin, you have dibs.
I have dibs on a whole meme.
Yes, you have dibs. I don't feel like doing that, so you go right ahead. Yeah. And then
I'm doing it right now.
There's a ton of little stuff. I guess that was here and there. Maybe some stuff we probably have missed, where someone's gonna be like, "Will you blah 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 blah?"
Yeah, who was that bald guy at the end?
Who was that bald fuck? Who was that old fuck?
What
that
a
Australian
fucking loser, bro! He looks like a guy. He looks so fucking pathetic that probably a blind guy could probably beat him in battle.
Yeah, like that loser. Who's that bald?
What a
loser?
fucking.
He's so weak.
Loser,
his
bro.
hairline left him due to the lack of respect.
Well, it was Rex, guys, right? It was Captain Rex.
Oh, it was Captain Rex.
Never mind, I take that back.
I love Captain Rex. Isn't that crazy?
I'm glad. I'm glad Boba Fett's back.
Me too. I just want to hug him.
Because if anybody were to bring Boba Fett back, it's Dave Filoni. Look at what he did with fucking Maul in the Clone Wars. Like, he turned a useless, like just a one-off character into an incredibly, like, he's probably my favorite antagonist in the entire
He's a good
franchise.
character. He's a good character.
You know?
Yeah.
And then when they close it off in Rebels where he confronts Obi-Wan one last time, I'm like, that's honestly, if you know the backstory between Obi-Wan and Maul, of all the shit that they go through in Clone Wars, that's probably the best lightsaber duel in history of Star Wars. Like,
short but
down.
intimate.
It's so perfect. Like,
There's
every single moment in that battle has meaning. You know? Like, fucking shit. And the fact that now Boba Fett's resurrection is in Filoni's hands and Favreau's hands, I'm excited. Because I never understood the obsession over Boba Fett. because he's fucking useless from what we've seen.
Boba Jingle.
If they could redeem him, I'm 100% down for that. I
But
want to see Boba Fett be the badass Mandalorian.
but is
Like, oh,
Dave
shit.
Filoni and his hat and Jon Favreau, are they powerful enough to redeem Rey? Can they do
No.
it? Should
No.
they do it?
Bye-bye. We're not talking about
Bye-bye.
that.
If you're still listening to this podcast, make sure to comment your favorite food. Thank you, guys.
It's pretty much confirmed that
Rey's dead.
Boba Fett was the one that picked up that Ming-Na Wen character from season 1.
Oh, yes.
Because he had the same, like, that black cloak on.
Yeah,
And
at first
obviously
I
we
thought
heard
it was...
Boba Fett's, like, his boots and shit.
Yeah, at first I thought it was the Moff Gideon, which I think a lot of people thought, even though that didn't really make
It makes
much
more sense that it's Boba Fett.
Yeah, and Boba Jingle, but yeah.
Because he's clearly been on Tatooine this entire time. He hasn't been
And
on
I
TV.
love Ming-Na Wen, so they should just keep her alive. I don't know how, but you know.
Because clearly, right now,
Maybe he ate her.
Right now, it seems like Boba Fett's motivations to be injected into the story is that he sees the Mando has the armor and he wants it back, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. And now he has Ming-Na Wen's character who has come across the Mando, and I would assume he would interrogate her, be like, "Hey, what the fuck do you know about this?"
Well, here's the
person?"
thing. Okay, so like despite Star Wars flaws, like one thing I've mentioned this yesterday, one thing they've remained very consistent with is blaster shots. Blaster shots kill. Unless you're hitting an appendage, like you're dead. Like that's like I don't think anyone like as much as I love Ming-Na Wen, I think she died.
Except for, no, I don't think she died.
You don't think she died? I don't like for whatever reason. I don't think she died. Like I just don't feel it.
Where did
But,
she
like,
get shot at again?
Like in the chest, like in the torso area. Like they didn't shoot her in the limb.
They could
Like-
just be like, "Oh, she had like something hidden under her shirt."
Like
Beskar.
yeah, like what's his name?
Like she comes back, it's like, how'd you survive? It's like, oh, you shot me in my Beskar, and she just pulls it out.
When Grief Karga, who's what's his name? I can't think of the actor's name right now, but yeah, when he got
John
shot,
Williams. Yeah, he got shot
and
with
the
Beskar.
and I don't know if it's theory confirmed that Mando
He's force sensitive.
Mando knew that he had the Beskar in that pocket, so he shot him there. There's some theories that
I don't
that's
think he did.
what he did, but I don't think
I
he
think
did
he did.
either.
I think he
But-
I think it makes it more interesting that he didn't know that he actually.
It
went
could
for the
very
kill.
much be the force, like the always like it's like the force
Nah, fuck
acting in
the
mysterious
Force.
ways.
That's such a fucking
Carl
shitty
Weathers.
writing plot.
I mean,
Carl Weathers, man.
Carl Weathers.
oh, Carl
Also-
Weathers, duh.
Also, can I just say Cara Dune?
Not here yet. Calm down.
I think
it.
it makes it more interesting that he actually tried to kill him because remember they're bounty hunters and they're he betrayed
Yeah.
him. He backstabbed him and they're
I think
ruthless.
it's left to the audience. I think it's truly left to the audience. If you want
I
to
don't
think
care.
one, you can
Yeah.
think the other.
I do like how Favreau did that old callback to how easy it is apparently to sabotage Boba's jetpack.
Yeah, that was he is punches.
Or it
and
seems like
flies
a lot of
away.
Mandalorian jetpacks are kind of easy to sabotage. Because like you'll see
How
it
do they
hap-
control the jet?
It's also very easy to cut off their heads.
yeah. So,
Uh-oh.
anyways, so that scene where Mando, where he essentially just sabotages.
He slaps it. Yeah. He
Confidence,
is active.
yeah.
So upon my rewatch, when the Forge lady gave him the jetpack, she's like, "It will not answer your commands until your training is complete." So like, I guess it's like magically linked to the person. I don't know.
No, there's always.
Well, that's
something.
what she said. That's what
It's
she
just
said.
Look,
it doesn't matter.
Like he had to be. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It looks cool.
It
That's all
Yeah,
that
looks
like-
matters.
cool. The rule of cool is always important in film.
Like in that case, like how did Cobb Vanth, like how did he control
Shut
a
up.
rocket?
Shut
How
up.
did he know the?
Shut up.
Like sure he flipped down the visor thing, that the little
Yeah.
like launcher
Cool, cool.
thing in front of his helmet, but then how do you fire it? Like who cares?
My question is,
He
where
thought
does
it.
he get the? This is the second time he fires a missile. Where does he find these missiles?
He probably went back to the freaking Jawas. That's like the easiest answer ever. There you go. You big dumb.
But where he
idiot.
get the money?
Money?
Well, I forget what crystals he said, but those crystals have been worth a lot, so he may have gotten like
Ammo.
multiple rockets. Who knows?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It looks cool.
Or he may,
Look,
or
It's kind of useless the fact that he had to bend over to fire. Why can't you just?
it did look kind
It's
of dumb.
tracking. It's tracking, so you could just shoot it up in the air like a javelin, and it'll come down and blow the fuckers up. Also, can we talk about how many fucking people died grotesquely in this
Oh my
fucking
god,
episode?
the acid from the dragon.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're getting eaten. I'm like, okay, that's Disney, whatever. Then you see people melting from the acid that the
yeah.
dragon is spitting. I'm like, holy shit,
Oh,
this is fucked.
That's one of my notes I wrote. Dragon acid. Talk about the acid. That's right. Yeah, that was brutal. That's a terrible, horrible way to die.
It is a terrible way to die.
In Game of Thrones, they show a scene where a main character sentences some like supporting characters to death by dragon fire, and when the dragon like
It's like napalm, isn't it?
when the dragon burns these two, because it was such a it's just dragon fire and it's like magical in that universe, it basically just immediately eviscerates them. So it's like, okay, I guess that it's really hot for a second, but then you die. Where with like dragon acid in Star Wars, I think is way more gruesome because you're slowly just melting away, like your body is decomposing at a higher rate because of the acid.
Yeah.
It's just you're breaking down like this. Oh, it's awful.
It's so fucked up. Baby Yoda's gonna have some severe PTSD. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
That poor bastard has seen so much by just being with the Mando.
When is he gonna start talking?
Baby?
I don't want him to talk. He's cuter when he's just like.
His final words will be Mandalorian, and then I'm like, "Aww,
Dad."
Oh no! And
then
Padme comes in the final episode and snatches him and starts dating.
What do we think Baby Yoda's actual name is? I have
Yoda.
a theory.
I think it's Yoda.
No.
I think there's
honestly,
only one Yoda.
I think it is a clone of Yoda. Like bullshit aside, but I think because we know that the two other species of his kind that we've seen are Yoda and Yaddle. So with that, we could be like, okay, they need to start with a Y at the beginning. So from here on, hence on forth, I think Baby Yoda is called Yi.
Or it's Yeda. Yeda. It's like it sounds like a baby
Yeda?
trying to say.
No, it's just Yi.
Yee.
It's Andrew Yang. That's his name. That's
Shut
a
up.
good name.
This is not a politics podcast, Kevin.
Yabo.
Everybody. All right, so
Your baby.
Hold up. Wait a minute. So, where do you guys put that podcast or not podcast? This podcast.
I don't do anything.
Do you guys put that episode? Would you say is one of the better episodes they put so far? Because I think that's probably. I would easily say that episode is. I mean, there's only been like 9.
That is the 9th episode.
But so for of the 9 they put,
that's what I thought.
I know I screwed up. Okay, I screwed up. Okay, just ended it out.
This is an incredibly strong start for.
That is a great. It was a great It's a great Mandalorian episode. It's a great Star Wars piece of media, and it's a great season opener.
Yeah, out of the entire show, it's probably in my top 3 episodes already. Like I really like this episode. It's a really good episode. What if the next episode's
like really dog shit? Like they just drop the ball from the rest of the season. I'm respectfully, I might actually cut that part out just for those who haven't heard of the spoilers. Not everyone's a mega Star Wars fan.
Okay, fine. Then go ahead and cut that part out. Okay, there's a rumor of a character coming in, and I'm a bit worried about how they do the character design on set.
I don't even care about the design. It's just if it does come out, I want to play an incredibly small role because.
Don't specify gender.
Even though I like the character, I'm just the man's got a bad habit of being
Kevin's got PC on us.
This is the only character I ever want to do.
All roads lead to Thanos. Not Thanos.
I'm not worried. Now remember that. Okay, I guess we're gonna. No, these. Whatever.
The fact that
everyone knows about
exists just to bring that back, I'm like, yo, what? Relax.
The thing is though, the person that they casted as. If that casting is true, which I like, I think it's a good casting. If that's true, I don't think they're gonna play that small a role. If anything, it might be an episode role, an entire episode role, such as Timmy Oliphant.
If they're gonna bring that character in, actually, I hope it's the season finale. Like how else are they gonna tell people to be like, hey, go watch season 3?
They all know, Kevin. We're talking about.
No. I was just thinking, like, what if Timothy Chalamet just shows up?
Oh my God.
Whoa. That was me the whole time.
Whoa, bro. Wrong show with sandworms, bro. Go on.
The Mandalorian's like, who are you? I'm Timothy Chalamet.
Who are you? I'm Timothy Skywalker.
Who are you? I'm Timothy Skywalker.
We start because we can just assume the Skywalker name whenever you want. My,
You give me so
Kevin, I think
Oh
I
my
think the
Oh my
water is warm enough. You can go turn off the teapot, whatever the tea kettle.
Anyway, can he be Baby Yoda Skywalker?
Anyways,
Anyways,
thank you for listening to a Bad Password podcast. Thank you to George. Thanks to Kevin, completely losing his marbles. And I'm Jacob, your much more stable secondary host. And thanks for listening.